I mean, it's better than Zoom. We got a countdown right here. I just want to open it up. I don't need no introduction. Jess Mcgaffie right here, and with one of my best friends right here. So he's interviewing me, and we were just into some hot discussions prior. That's why our voices are still hot right now because we did some stuff off Broadway. But go ahead and ask me your first question. And let's see what we got.
Interviewing Jesse 5 years ago on my previous platform, and even then, this concept that I think everyone has coined, whether it's Warren Buffett or Mosey, our guest over here. Everyone talks about that first real financial milestone that people hit in their life is saving up $1,000. We're based in the US, it's $100,000. If it's anywhere else, different currency. But essentially, that is truly the first concept that everyone says, no matter what, anything's legally, morally, ethically, you got to get to that first level, because that's where life starts. And so we're going to talk about how, given everything else going on in this world, is that concept the same, or has the target moved now to keep up with inflation?
100,000. Man, I remember when you were really, I think you were about maybe 22, 23 when we spoke about this situation, because 100,000 is so difficult to do. A lot of people think it's very interesting, very easy, but you have so many interruptions, so many, and you now notice how hard it was to get your first 100. I mean, it was murder, and it was murder for me as well. Because I have one big interruption that still to this day, a lot of people don't know the power of, and that's the power of poverty. And there's a difference between poverty and discrimination in this $100,000 get. And those of you who are in poverty, I think you should change it to discrimination. I had discrimination. I did not have poverty. I didn't mind being in poverty. And there's a thin line, and it's hard to explain the line, but as I was watching the pretty girl leaning against the Cadillac that says, get a Cadillac, it was impossible for me to even think that way as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old guy. But I thought that there was a discrimination going on out here. How come I don't have it? I asked the question, why?
Right.
Why is it that you can have it and I can't have it? So I asked that beautiful, selfish question. Hey, why is it that I can't have that? And if you can't tell me the answer, I better go get it. And thank God I played sports to give me some competitive vines, you know, and sports and a few more other things showed me that, you got to go get it. And you cannot use an excuse per se of poverty. I know poverty, but poverty is heavy, man. Poverty is really, really tremendously a heavy situation. Yeah, look, I'm around $1 million homes right here where I'm sitting at. And I look at the front yards, those front yards are poverty, because there are people who lived in poverty and they still cannot break the game. Poverty is way much more powerful than you think. And those people are very smart individuals, but you can be smart as you can be more, you can be, I'm sorry, they're very intelligent individuals, but you can be extremely intelligent and not smart. That's the other thin line. And if you're not smart enough to know the game, that game, you put grass in front of your home, that puts the $100,000, because it gives you peace. But all the rocks and all that stuff in front of your home, it really doesn't give you peace when you pull up. But that's the game, and so you have to, as a young person, to me, that's just to me is subjective, but that's what I told you. Hey, man, get your first 100 and see how things change, see how people change, and now you're seeing a lot of changes.
Yeah, when you told me that, I thought it was very linear. I'm like, man, it's a walk in the park. I don't know what you're talking about. But I think once you've had to accumulate to make a play, right? Whatever that is, and you've had to start over. You're like, damn, it's hard. Like not having to have living expenses and just save is hard. The interference is not always about it's not even so much the big ticket items that we wish we can get it to. Because again, as a guy who has good taste, I like to say, some big ticket items, you buy it at the wrong sequence, it sets you back a little bit, right? But it's more so setting the environment and curating the environment that allows for you to just be consistent. Because people will get some momentum and then something will happen that they allow for. Granted, life happens, we all flat tires, whatever the case is, but there's always like, hey, yo, let's go on this trip to Bali.
Right.
You know, you trying to go to Vegas real quick. Let's put a little bit on the game. You know, yeah, you're trying to impress a lady friend that you might spend more. I love Anthony O'Neill. Like he even talks about, you might spend a little bit more than you planned on, right? And so that messes up momentum. And you do that once or twice, you now set yourself back. So it's really, you gotta just watch it like a hawk. And I think to your point, poverty, it's like if you don't really talk about money growing up, you don't have friends to talk about, or just mentors, and you're not studying this, it'll be start stop. I think I'm the greatest at start stops. I think I'm trying to learn that now, but I think like all of those things play a huge part in being able to accumulate 100,000. It's like being in shape. You gotta do it every day. You don't get to just pick and choose what weeks you're gonna be consistent versus not. That's when you have an inconsistent, physique. So that's the hard part. It's, can you stick to something truly through hell and back to make sure you get there. And I think that's the ruthless part that we talked about that I had to discover. And, I'm going to have to rediscover, to get back there.
I mean, it's a measure. And like all the heavyweights tell you, you got a decision, man. I mean, we're going back to some real heavyweights back in the day. If you start listening to Tracy and all those boys, it's a decision. With social media so hard on your generation, so hard, and you guys having to try to live up with the Joneses. I mean, that's why you guys are on the phone so much, is because you're trying to stay up with all the little nuances that when you have a conversation with someone of your level, you guys supposed to know all the words. Some guy comes up with a new word, lickety lick. You better know what lickety lick is, bro. And that's why you guys are psychologically. That's why you guys are on the phone so much, because you're trying to stay up. And and just because I don't know how much Iraq is, I don't really, because my whole game as a young dude is to have 4 jobs, 4 streamlines. I'm going for 4 streamlines. And you can't have 4 streamlines unless you start with 1. And a lot of your generation, and I'm saying that 30 and under, I don't think they really think about 4 jobs like my generation, man. We're thinking, hey, yo, I got to have 4 or 5 jobs. The problem that we have is we always think 9 to 5 jobs. That's the problem we have. We don't think about, I'm in bed, I'm asleep, and I still have money coming in. Streamline wasn't even a word in the game when I was going to, but right. You guys got to have those streamlines, and you can't really have them until you really sort of start with, that basic hard work level. Some kids jump into it. Yeah, okay. They jump into it, influence the world, things of that nature. But I would say that there's a lot of kids out there working hard, man. They're working 24/7. That boy who interviewed people about how did they get rich, I mean, if you take off the game, this boy's editing 10 hours a day. He slipped and said that one time, but he said it like, hey, this is what you got to do, but there's nothing to it. But once you make the 100, it's a different ball game. And, and obviously I'm going for way much more than that. But this year I'm going for 100, a quick 100. And, to really clear one thing. And then, my whole year this year is a bigger goal, way bigger goal than 100,000, but it's right. Big goal. But I'm going to challenge you on this Riverside platform that I absolutely thank you for introducing that to me. I'm going to challenge you. The first one to 100G, first one to 100 racks. The next check, the next streamline they get in, they have to give that other person who did not make the 100 racks 1 rack, $1,000 to the loser.
That's good.
So obviously I'm going to give you $1,000.
I love the confidence, man. Hey, confidence is important. So we'll see.
$1,000.
We'll see. I never turned down free money, but there's a couple things you broke down I want to challenge you on. Because I think problem people look at now, you talk about multiple streams. At some point you need it. But if you look at whether it's PBD or Hormozy, these guys who have scaled and done a lot of great things, it's all about sequencing. So my question is, how, if you were to break down someone's time, right? 2220, are they better off doubling down on their career, right, and progressing there, right? For example, versus having a second stream, I'd say it's like DoorDash or something else, right? For the sake of having multiple streamlines, because that compounding is worth more. Like if someone, for example, in the right career, like say sales or tech or finance, they reach that next level, 1 or 2 levels, their earning power is a lot more versus them chasing a quick buck.
Yeah.
And versus taking that time to get a quick buck, they're investing in skills and things. That's long term compounding, right? So now it's like, shoot, forget saving 1,000. I now can put aside another 5, 10, depending on where they're at, to save towards 100. So, like I said, at what point do you find that balance of you really just focus on one thing, your craft, and as you get good at your craft, that unlocks more things versus, trying to be, because I mean, Hormozy says, I personally know the guy that got rich doing crypto, drop shipping, like, doing like 6 things at once. No one I know personally who's successful is known for doing 6 things at once. They've gotten really good at one thing, they've doubled on that, and then from there, they're a different platform, they can expand and they can do other things versus doing a bunch of things.
Okay. This is a big fight. And I'm older than him. So I've seen a few things but he's richer than me. So that's the biggest fight because I always have a fight with that. But no, I don't believe that. I don't believe. Let me go down on the record against all my boys, most all of them. And I like Myron and all those guys.
Yeah.
But I think they're lying. Honest truth, I think they're lying. I think they're lying actually. I think they're lying, and I'm gonna get on the record because the game is so well. I mean, they're saying, well, you can't focus. You can't focus on so many six. If you're that kind of person, I was a single dad for 18 years, so I know how to multitask.
Yeah.
So what the hell they're talking about? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't know me personally. If your mom taught you how to multitask, then yes, multitask. Now here's the key, though. Let me get right about the career. Okay. Got a career. Give me a career. Give me a career.
Say you are fine. Let's say you're working in management consulting or investment banking. Very demanding careers. It's pretty good payoff for that. Demanding careers, 70, 80-hour work weeks. You usually gotta travel to client sites. So you're already like you're bent to you gotta bend to, the client and the grind that comes with that. So you don't really have the time to like navigate other things potentially.
Granted. Okay. So here's my multitask situation. And this is where they're right. You're focusing on this consulting deal. I was focusing on my teaching deal. But in the world, taking a little bit of time. And as you know, as a trainer, I was trainer, after that. I was doing a little bit of training for the high school.
Sure.
But here is the deal. I also was a Uber driver. I don't think you knew that, did you?
I think you told me a little bit towards the end.
You're busy in your college worlds, but I did Uber. And I did Uber because in the back of my mind, I'm a multitask guy. In the back of my mind, I'm saying, hey, yo, in order for me to get this training, this training business going, I need some customers. Number 2, I need to know the boots on the ground, what's going on out there as well. Because I pick up on another game, another streamer.
Right.
And I picked up one of my streamlines, Uber. Mm-hmm. Guy says, hey, I have no one to teach my kid. I said, I can teach your kid. What are you talking about? I can teach your kid anything he wants to learn. Yeah. He says, if you could do that, I'm going to give you $5,000. I said, no. I taught him. I gave him 6 lessons. And he was on his way. He was on his way to the basketball world. And you can have a career. My second career which is training. Right. I'm in the back of my mind, I was seeking out Uber to help my career. So I have another streamline with Uber, but really I'm gaming on Uber because that's where my people are at. That's where brand is at. I'm branded every time they get in. Hey, what do you do, man? Look like you don't really do this for a living. Oh, I do, a little teaching and then I'm doing this. I talk to kids and then I'm doing the training world. I'm trying to tap him. I'm trying to up to see where he's at, to see where his weakness at. Hey, I got a kid that, no one can teach. Hey, hey, you should come over, yada, yada. I was also invited to Steph's camp, but I didn't have the time. Driving Uber. Hey, I'm the block.
The trade-off has been worth it, though.
Yeah, trade-off was tremendous. I met the vice president of Google at the time. She was rolling with me, and I gave voice connection. I'm tremendous. And here we are saying, you're not multitasking? Get your butt on the ground. Get out there and get that 100. And don't listen to that. I'm focusing on one thing. I'm going to make more and more customers. Yes, that is possible. But I really, truly believe that you should have one streamline that's on the ground. And you're not doing it so much to make some money on Uber. I'm doing it so much to make my connections, bigger connections, higher connections. That's what I'm doing.
So let's break that down. So you said something without saying something. So you were saying you were able to leverage your teaching and also be a trainer because you had skills, right? So I think it goes back to step one, where in order to get to 100K saved up, you need to either add net new skills, right? Or you get even more proficient at the existing skills you have so you can demand more in the marketplace. So that's what people, I think that's what Hermos is referring to. Because like, yeah, you in the red, you need to get some skills so someone can pay you, right? A higher wage. So yeah, obviously, I mean, there's no shade that everyone has to do what they have to do, but like, you can get a job to pay for your time for right now, but you can't stay there if you want to save more. So you should really, to your point, be boots on the ground, either getting that new skills, or even, I think as one of my other mentors I've met, he's like, or even Holmes says, you're a businessman, not a businessman. Like, to where, you're walking into these, so everyone has skills. You just leverage that and see how you can do that on the side too.
It's not, and I never considered it on the side. I always considered it as part of my pyramid. There's one more 500-ton rock that I'm adding on and sharpening the knife.
Right.
But yes, I want my career at the top of that pyramid, but I want all facets to come in and leverage that situation. But I was talking to one of the kids who banked at my bank, and I said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm just chilling. What's your second job?" "I don't have one." And I said, "What?" "I don't have one, man. I might get one, And I'm just thinking, and I'm talking to him saying, but there's no might. You're a single male. You got to get out there, bro. You got to get out there. And he said, man, I get off at 6 or 7 o'clock. I said, that's what they intentionally want you to. That's what they intentionally want you to do. That's why they want to take all your focus, and you come in at 10 and then you get off at freaking 7 or something. Yeah, the only thing you're thinking of, okay, I got to play a different game. I'm either going to have to get in investments because these guys come in at 6 o'clock, and leave on banker's hours, or
Right.
and I have to get here as fast as I can because I can't be doing it. The second thing about it, I said, well, you're sitting here and you know everyone's finance. You look into my deal and you know my finance. Your whole game is to write a book. But what's the most fascinating thing is to write about these different characters and change their name, but and see the game. This guy comes in, flash, he had a lot of gold. I looked into his account and he has 5. I think a lot of people would want to read that. Now, who are your customers? He said, who's going to read that? I said, do you ever walk by Safeway and see all those magazines right next to the aisle when you're about ready to check out? Those people will read that. Leverage. Get your leverage, on the whole deal. Get your 100. You get your 100. Things are different. I tell you what, get that 100. You young people get that 100. You guys get that 100. No matter what, if you got a hole in your sock or you wearing mixed match socks, don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about that. That is not the interrupter. That is not, if the only interrupter that should stop you is your health. Other than that, man, you got to go get it.
All right. So, our boy Graham, he loves to say, hey, I think Kevin O'Leary is also like, I make my coffee at home. I'm not spending money on food. I think you remember that I lived on a futon with like 6 roommates. So mind you, like obviously let's pretend you're like a 22-year-old kid. You're graduating college. You're coming into like some real money for the first time in your life. You got partners who are about to get a nice apartment. Like, nice apartment in the city or whatnot. What do you focus there? How much, what percentage of income should you be spending on living to where you can function as a human being, but it's also not over the top? Like, how are you thinking about that at that age if you're 22 right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. You're 22. You just got out of college. You're making a little accumulation of money, and you're trying to save as much as you can. Yes, there's 2 things: health and safety. Now, if I was 22 now, the first thing I would do is first of all, as I'm leaving the college, and I'm asking my partner, hey, yo, man, where you gonna go? Hey, I think I'm gonna go to San Francisco. Where you gonna go? I think I'm gonna go to blah blah blah. If they're going my way, that's my roommate.
But what if they're the more glitz and glamour type though? Like, isn't that interference?
Now,
Because they're gonna want to spend money on. If they're spending money on the apartment, they're gonna want to entertain people. They're gonna want to wine and dine. Like, these are just things you can connect the dots on. So is that really someone you want when like you're trying to be frugal? Like
yeah,
your budget $0 technically.
well, that's them. I mean, if they're trying to be glam, granted. Some people make it on glam. Glam can attract some people. So I'm not hating his game. I'm just saying, AOG, this is what we got to do. We got to put 6 months ahead, 6 months of rent, put that into a separate account, our bank account, and we'll feed that bank account, but we can't touch it. We're not allowed to touch it. The only ones allowed to touch it is the apartment people, the pool every month. So let's accumulate some money here, and then when we have about it's going to take you 12G. When we accumulate our 12G or 10G or whatever, we put both of that right there. So if anyone double cross that situation where you're trying to leave and leave me with the bag, then we can take care of that because I'll be in charge of that. Okay, number one. Number two, you want to be safe. My whole thing is I'm going to tell you the honest truth. This is what I did when I was in between having our house built. I wanted to stay in an apartment. I was looking at, I'm in real estate, so I'm driving around each apartment to see who's ready and who's not ready. I'm looking for more Hondas and Toyotas than I am looking for Jeeps and all these high cars. Because the high end people who are paying high end cars, they are not ready to buy a home. I'm looking for the Hondas, the hardworking individuals, and I'm checking that out. I'm looking for the license plates and what have you. I'm looking for that as well because I know they just got here. They just arrived. They need some place to stay. But I know within a year or so, they're thinking about house because they're going to get to that California adjustment.
Yeah.
So if I'm 22, I'm riding around. I'm looking for the safest place because why? That's more important. I don't have really a lot of stuff to steal because guess what? I'm trying to make my 100,000. So there's nothing to steal other than my life, and I'm not going to put my life on that level. I know a lot of guys say, no, I'm gonna live in poverty and all that. No, 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 no. I want my car to be there. I want everything to be ready so I can go make some more money. So I have to be safe now. Forget about living in places that's not safe. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous because of that situation. But my roommate, I'm not even there because why? I'm working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
That thing is just look in the refrigerator, get the food out, and then go right back at it.
Okay, question then. All right. So we covered housing. I think usually, food, transportation, housing, those are the big 3 expenses for anyone, right, in this country, let alone the world. So in your eyes at that age, right, 22 is pretty young. You can roll the dice on a couple of things, right? Is it worth rolling the dice on going to a high-end gym, going to certain coffee shops so you know where the heavy hitters are? Because yes, it might hurt the pocket right now, but at that age, you're thinking, I need my 100 gigs, but there's life ahead of me. Compound, relationships matter. So how much of that do you index on if I can get an Equinox, say it's $200-300 a month for a gym, or a lifetime, whereas going to Planet Fitness to where you still might meet some people, but that inertia, you're around people who are willing to invest in themselves at that level. How would you think about those types of decisions? And if so, at what point would you roll the dice and invest in more premium things if they can take you forward?
Well, Equinox and all those places, those people that you see working out there, they already have established people. Being young and not known is not going to help them. It's not going to help because why? Those people already have established people. So, if they wanted to call a trainer, they would call me versus that guy right there. Because why? They may not trust a young guy. They're going to trust who they know. Number two, these people have been catered to. They're not going to, it's sort of like they're not going to start all over again when, like your cook. You don't want to really change cooks because that, you don't want to go through all that again. They don't know that you like broccoli. They don't know that you want, these people right here want to establish a situation. They want it done and they want it done fast and they want it done quick. So you should get into Platinum Fitness because why? Those people are growing with you as well. There's no disrespect to them because your butt's there and you're definitely on the rocket. I put that little deal on the rocket because you can't get out of poverty unless you're on a rocket. You cannot ride in a Prius and think you're going to get out of poverty. You have to get yourself in a rocket. It's got to be a rocket ship. Nobody can get on this. When you're on a rocket ship, when you're on that thing's going up. When you're going up, man, no one can catch a ride. I mean, it's hard trying to. Those interrupters are trying to get into that car. Hey, let me into the car, man. Let me. If you Prius and you're slowing down for them, that's when you get in trouble. No, man, consider yourself on a rocket. Just hitting to that moon, and no one's getting in. And I tell you one thing: if they are trying to get in, they're running just as fast as you. That's the only way they can open up that door. And guess what? Cool, because we can roll. I got enough room,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to. And so Planet Fitness is your spot. These people are growing with you, and there's no shame in that game. You
Absolutely.
save that money. Yeah, you save that money, man. You save that money. But the Equinox, I'll catch up with them. I'll catch up with the run. But for right now, no. I'm trying to save my money. I'm not worried about being around, around rich people or people who are so-called, there's a lot of people that work. I heard a comment that said there's a lot of people in these expensive neighborhoods that they make just enough to make people believe that they're rich. And, you know, that's the game. And I don't mind. I can fall into that category. I don't mind that. I make just enough to seem like, on the outside that I'm rich, but, I'm working my butt off. I fall into that category. And I don't mind that because that's a play with me in that competition. And some people will call it ego, but no, 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 man. I'm going to get this. Will I go more? More than likely, but that's just in the game. That's just in the game. And so you get into that game, man, and get into that rocket, and you don't have to, but you don't have to lie to kick it though. You know, you
That's
really,
true.
man, you don't have to lie to kick it, man. Don't, no, man. The girlies and all that, 100G, 100 racks. Watch how they feel. Watch how you will say no. You will say the word no more with 100 racks. You will say no more because once you fill 100 racks, then you're gonna say, "My God, I think I can get three if I can do this again." And so you're saying no, hey, no, 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 man. I think I need three now. So that's my theory.
No, great theory. The second part I was going to ask there, again, at that age, is the leverage of time, right? Where you're still young, where it's like, to your point, you got to put the ego aside because you got to do whatever it takes to save costs. But there's also to how do I multiply my time? And so again, a lot of the heated debate that, people go back and forth on, and if you listen to all these guys who have made it now, it's like some of them fall in the camp of, look, man, even when I was broke, I was dry cleaning. I think her mother, like, dude, I went and bought Chipotle 2-3 times a day, right? Because I need my time because I'm trying to make money. Versus on the other side, it's like, look, you got people who are like, look, man, I didn't eat out at all. I meal planned everything. So where do you fall in that camp? And if someone, like you said, who should be working 3 jobs a day or 3 jobs and is always on the run, like how would you go about food in terms of like, because that is a time suck potentially. So I guess are you the camp of like you're ordering out because time's of the essence, or two, I'm watching every penny in and out until I hit 100.
My biggest secret. Let me tell you on game. Let me just put it on game. Let's just put it on game because there's some things that's academic, but let me just put it on game. If your biggest weakness is where you work, let me explain this. When I was having problems with food, then I'm going to work at a restaurant. If that's my biggest weakness, I'm going to have to work part time for one of my streamlines because that's eating up too much money of my money. So now I'm going to have to work right here at a restaurant. But let me give you my biggest game. I think is the biggest at 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. As a man, I have always depended on women. I've always depended on women. I've always depended. I hear all this talk about women, and the generations are so different now. It's so different now. But I've always depended on speaking because women and there's a lot of women here are really time of day. They're here to help you, and I think today there are some. I think it's fewer, but there are women out there they're here to help you. And I've always used a female for my go-to when I'm at the weakest point of saving my money on one of my streamlines. And funny you should say this because I had a food problem with my streamline, and there was a particular female who worked at a particular restaurant, and she would definitely double up and triple up my meal and save me a year and a half. A year and a half. Same thing in college, man. Same thing in college. I remember Mrs. Harris. She used to give out she was really, really strict, but I would treat her with total respect. Total respect. Nothing phony, just total respect. And she would double up for me on the food, my food intake, and drop all that food on my plate, man. So appreciative, man. So appreciative. So all you young guys, I know there's a lot of talk about women and things of that nature, but you have to drop all your expectations of these so-called model women and all that. No, man, that wasn't my game. My game is I don't care what you look like. If you're a friend of mine, you're a friend of mine, and I'm going to help you out, and I hope to God that you're going to help me out. But I've never counted on so-called the model chick to help me out.
That's the safe bet. And the other part too, again, there is so much information out there, right? There's a lot of get rich quick options that, rightfully so. Hey, I bit the bullet on. I bit the bullet on. At that age, you're like, shit. Let me if I can go to the moon, why am I listening to these guys? But like whether it's crypto, investing in the market, there's a lot of again, there's no shortage of people wanting your money, right? So when you're at that age, you're getting exposed to this stuff, and you're really starting to make adult decisions. At that stage, if you had parental support, you've had a sounding board. But now, like if you're living on your own, with your folks, you're really on your own and making these decisions. So how much of that are you playing till you hit your 100 Gs, or are you not playing that at all? You're like, look, I can't take a chance with anything, so I'm gonna just stack straight cash, even if I lose mine in inflation in the short term, because I need to get to that point to even get to that next level.
Straight. That's straight. I'm going straight. I'm not taking no chances. I'm going straight. I don't care what anyone said, because I've done this before. I'm going straight. I'm going straight up, straight. I want to stack. And when you're working hard and you're stacking, I mean, you want to pull a rack to go to Vegas real quick. Nah, I'm gonna go right up the street here. I may not really take no chance. I'm really more interested in stacking. Yeah, you should have a look. There's nothing wrong with you going to the beach and spending, $5 or $10 for parking. Nothing wrong with that, man. And hit that beach, man. Sit down in perspective, and you should sit down. And let's just say you had 35. You had 35 racks. You should sit down. Say, okay, I'm at 35 racks, and you should laugh. You just laugh because the game is on, and you have to give yourself a smile. I mean, you have to give yourself a little bit of a smile, but and when you finish with that beach and you go to sleep, there's nothing like beach sleep. There's nothing like beach sleep. Nothing like it. And you wake up, seagulls flying around a little bit, people still laughing and things of that nature. You get back, you're refreshed, and you do it again. And you just gotta laugh sometimes when you take your break, and but it's very difficult, and I'm not taking no chances. I'm going straight. I'm going straight, man. And I hope that you get a job that you can. My philosophy about get a job that you can work your other job. Get a job that you can work your other job in. And that's what you're doing. That's my I and you got to understand that I know no other way. I've seen guys play the game and play a little bit. It's fine and dandy. I've seen guys win, but you know what, man? You see a lot of people talk about when they win, but man, there's quadruple the amount of people that lost. Stock game, gambling game, any game.
Right.
Just people just don't come to you and say I lost, but they'll come to you. They won. They'll come to you. They won because that's why they're trying to relate themselves as winners. Losing, that's why I'm not taking no chances yet. I'll take my chances when I hit my 100G for a payoff, probably go to Vegas on my next 1,000, like you. When I give you your 1,000, you go to Vegas, on that 1,000, whatever, and that's fine. That's fine and dandy. Until then, it's on.
And with that, I was gonna ask, in your opinion, now, in the world of AI, right? I think obviously you've seen a lot of changes, right? So, what are like the top, say, 4 skills everyone needs to have to even be able to stack? Right? It could be whether that's soft, hard skills. What do you feel like we need now as we enter this new era where AI is gonna be doing a lot of things that we previously relied on ourselves to do? Like, what do you feel like? Where's the game shifting that everyone needs to be able to adapt to be able to stack that 100G?
Well, first of all, I think AI is a beautiful thing for people who come from poverty and discrimination. And remember, in poverty, there's a whole plethora of things such as no education and things of that nature. Right. That's why I love AI. So my first one, the first thing I can think of with AI is a skill of writing. I know this sounds crazy, but there's a lot of people that have great ideas in their head, but they can't write it up. Now you can do that with AI, because AI levels that game of those teachers who did not want to teach you because of some odd reason. So AI levels that game. So if you're sitting there with an idea that you want and you need to write to the bank, or you need to write to the school system, says I got a beautiful after school program, bam. First skill is writing. I think the second skill is the discipline. You have to continue pumping that well until the water comes up. The discipline is just the foundation, man. I need to up my discipline. I'm not. I'm sitting here saying it, but I'm kicking myself in the butt right now because I didn't do something that I know I should have done last night. But it's definitely in my planner. You know, I'm looking at it right now. It's looking me right in the face. So if you don't have a planner, and you're 22, 23, and you don't have a planner, but if you do get a planner, guess what? You're going to beat 75% of your generation. You're going to beat 75% of your generation. If you don't have I usually do my schedule, and then I do my my daily journal on the other side of that planner. Uh, but yeah, I think those two, discipline and writing, add up to on the AI. The third, I only have three. I don't have four, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But the third that I can think of with AI is, I know a lot of people, my generation is thinking AI is something that's going to could be dangerous,
Right.
could be really pretty dangerous. But I think the positive belief. And I'm talking to my generation basically, because we're not, we had this conversation before about the belief and the faith and things of that nature, where your generation don't talk to, or do not say hello. You guys don't greet us with hello when you come into a room and things of that nature. It's a lot of things that go into that. When you guys play so many games, you don't get into those skills because you plan your games and things of that nature. And then I was thinking, maybe we don't deserve for one to say hello, But then I'm thinking, hey, we still got the ball rolling. It's
So the game,
rolling.
so kind of
Yeah,
run this. I mean,
yeah. So, do we deserve to say hello or not? I teeter totter on that one a lot, but I'm really worried about the belief system. We're not giving you the concrete game of saying, hey, with this new development of technology, you still have to believe in yourself. It's not going to do it for you. It's definitely not going to do it for you. AI is just going to enhance your game. Either way, it can go up or down. Either way, that's the only thing you have to understand in your belief system, that it can go either way. The competition could be better than you, and it can go down on you. But you have to understand it can definitely help you out a tremendous amount. Well, AI is the enhancer. That's what it is. And you have to have the belief that it is. Now, you guys feel good about AI because you feel that enhancer, but I don't think you understand that it can take you down just as fast as it can bring you up.
I feel like it's more positive than negative because again, it removes the friction of starting things. I don't think it's fully there where you can like go zero, like 0 to 1 fully, but it starts the ball and it's on you to execute on it. The second part I was going to ask that, we talk about lifestyle inflation is there's two sides of the coin where it's like, you not fully fake it till you make it, but like you dress the part, like you follow the code, right? And then also too at that age, family is a thing. Family is a thing. So how important, I think even Steve Harvey says every man needs to have a couple of suits, right? I think in today's day and age, I know Zuckerberg, these guys, they push that, like, I don't care how I dress, but look, the way the world works, the more likable you are, the more successful you are. Part of likability comes from how you carry yourself and position yourself. And so with that, if you're a young cat, are you spending a little bit on a nice suit or two suits? Are you wearing more formal? Are you wearing proper clothing? For you don't care how you look. You just need to get the 100 G's. Then two, with family, right? You got the interferences. Like, hey, shoot, someone's birthday coming up or some things that come up. How cold are you when it comes to being a team player versus, look, I gotta fill my cup first to help someone else out?
Well, that's an absolute great question, because on the first part, are you going to spend for a good suit? And no, you're not going to. Look, I saw a suit at Macy's the other day. It's a nice looking suit. Let me tell you. Let me tell you a little bit more game on the game. And this is just me personally. I know it's subjective, but it's the thought. It's the thought that comes from my childhood. It's the thought that comes from my college days. Look, I'm looking at that suit on a mannequin. It's a nice suit. Yes, I do know it's not like the suit that I have in my closet, maybe, but it's still a nice suit. Here's the key to a nice suit. If you have a nice body, no one cares what that suit looks like. They're not even going to take the time to look at the suit.
Right.
Because why? The suit suits you because you have a nice body. So that's where the discipline comes in. When you have the body to get into that suit, there's no more questions asked. Because when you come through there, cat's going to look at you, that board's going to look at you, those board members going to look at you and say, okay, this guy right here has got some discipline. And the suit, heck, they know one thing, the suit can't type. And the suit can't do COBOL. The suit cannot be an engineer. It's the guy in the suit. So it's what they see. Like you were saying, you got to fake it till you make it. That's not totally how I think in today's market. Today's market is about attention, and you have to get it. No matter what you do, you have to get it. Right. So stop thinking that you're faking it to make it. Hell no, you're trying to get attention. That's your game. Right. That's your game. Let those old punks think about all that other crap. You're trying to fake it till you make it. That's just low level thinking.
Not so much fake it till you just gotta dress the part. In a room, don't want to be, because age can be against.
Yeah,
so, look, I may not be wearing $10,000 custom suits, right, but guess what? Right. I meet you at $2,000 suit or what? I put myself together. So rather than me spending money on junk, I'm gonna invest in my appearance. So when I am in these rooms with high level folks, they understand that, look, he's prepared, he comes correct, he cares how he looks. Therefore, that's a check. That's a positive. That might not be the deciding factor whether or not they want to move forward with you in business or whatever, but that's not held against you. So I think that's more what it is.
Yeah, exactly. When you come in a suit and not me, I personally like wearing ties. I personally like wearing ties. But when you come into a suit, you come in there, a young gentleman come into a suit of guys my age, that's how you say hello. That's how you say hello in respect language. That's a respect language right there. So therefore, those Zuckerbergs and all those guys, don't you look at those guys. They already made it. When you see guys that have already made it, they don't have to be that respectful. That's the honest to God truth. They don't have to say hello to you. Everyone says hello to them. So they limit their hellos. They don't have time to really say hello to you as much. But you see Zuck got into a suit when he went to Trump's inauguration. Did you? Did you not?
I mean, that's code. Because at the end of the day, financial district, Wall Street, everyone still wears suits. You guys can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day,
because that was a level game. That was a level. See, they exposed the level game. Yeah, they got into that suit then. So that's what you're doing. But you don't have to have I wouldn't spend nothing over $600 for my suit when I'm coming in. Because why? If you have a disciplined body, you take it from there, man. And as long as you have a respectable situation, I think people will respect that. And if you don't have the best looking shoes, and I'm looking at your shoes a little bit on the interview, if it has a little scarf on it or whatever, and the lining looks thin, the wood looks thin on the bottom, hey, guess what? That's like working at McDonald's, and I see that on your resume. Oh, I worked at McDonald's. It used to be in my generation, if you see that, they wouldn't hire you for a business position because McDonald's would look down at. And now I'm saying, wait, this person knows how to work. This person knows how to get after it. And that's what I'm seeing when this gentleman comes in a suit. It may not be the best suit, but he's giving it his best. The wood on that bottom plate is not red. He doesn't have no red bottoms. But you know what? They're still Cole Haans, and they're a little worn, but that doesn't make no difference to me. I'm looking at it like this guy gets after it, and he's not about it. He gets after it. If he has new shoes on, granted, but I don't care. I'm looking at a go-getter. I want to see a go-getter, and you can't fool that body. You just can't fool that body.
Makes sense. I guess what's your thoughts on the whole family dynamic? Because again, some folks, they may not be signing NBA or pro athlete contracts, but for some folks, they truly are the first to graduate college, the first to work in white collar job, the first to really help progress the family trajectory forward. So some people carry that responsibility, right, where they have to pay some back home and things like that. But there's also some people who maybe don't have that exact responsibility, but cousin's birthday, cousin's wedding, someone in the family passed, we gotta go support. Like those are things, and obviously as minority men, we know those are things that are just part of day-to-day life. So I guess I know Kendrick has his thoughts in his last song, but I guess what's your thoughts on, again, how do I show up for family versus, I'm in war, I'll take care of you when I can. Well, what's your thoughts there?
This is a big thing, especially in cultures. In the cultures, there's a lot of interruptions. There's a lot of interruptions. And here's my thought about it. I might be wrong with this because in my culture, we can just say, no, I can't make it. Again, you have interruptions. You speak to your immediate family. This is what I'm doing. It's your job to protect me. It's your job to where you're saying, well, he couldn't make it because he had some dire situations. But he did send you a gift, and you write to that couple. You write to that couple who's getting married. Hey, look, this is what I'm going to do. When I get rich, you're going to be the first person I contact. But I'm sending you this gift, but right now I'm working 24/7. I'm quite sure you can understand this. How many people are going to write them a personal letter that really has some endearing factors to it? None. That's you. And they will understand. They will understand. And they will go on with that wedding. And that guy will tell them that everybody still will party. And they will party without you.
Yeah.
It won't stop the party just because you didn't make it.
No,
And it
definitely
won't
not.
stop the wedding. They won't stop the wedding. But there's just, again, you on that rocket. And you can trade it in for a Prius, but it's going to definitely hurt you because you're going to slow down and people are going to want to get in. But when you're on a rocket, man, it's it's not easy. It's not easy. Now,
How would you answer that if that's mom's, if that's immediate family? It's like, look, family event's coming up, Pop's birthday's coming up, and he really wants that certain item. You say no.
okay,
It's one thing. I agree. It's one thing to say that to like a third cousin. It's another. You telling people you or
the father's not going to kill me, but here's the deal. First of all, like I tell my family, hey, please don't get anything for me because what I want is something that you can't really afford right now. So what I want you to do is keep your health up. I don't have to worry. Keep your health up. That's the number one priority. Now, I'm as a dad, they know for sure. My son knows for sure. Hey, yo, man, you can't get him nothing because his head is way up there. But what can I get him? Yeah, he can get me a shirt or something, or a sweatshirt or something of that nature. That's fine with me because I have something that I'm worrying that my son bought, or my wife bought. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. I like wearing things that reminds me of my wife and my son. You know, in really reality, man, I hope that they don't bring me anything because I'm so happy and satisfied with things going. Everybody's in great health. Everybody's cool. I'm so happy with that. Man. That's all a dad wants. That's all you want. As long as that's happening, man, bro. No, man. I don't want anything. And yes, moms are saying this stuff, but no, not between men. Not between men. No, bro. Don't you give me anything. You know. And I'm going to talk to your mom about that because she knows how I feel. You're on a rocket, and I want you to stay on that rocket. Stay on that rocket. I can't wait till you start going. You start heading toward 1 million and 5 million. I know you're going to slow that rocket down and get me on.
absolutely.
So why am I stopping you from, going to the moon? No. So handling family. Now, how do you handle, how would young people handle that from a young person's perspective? You have to have that talk because see, they don't think you're serious because they know you as a little baby coming in with you taking your first steps.
Yeah.
You have to sit down with them in a solid talk. I mean, a solid, especially with your dad, man to man, mano mano. Hey, yo, hey, G, this is what we're doing, man. This is what I need to do. And you need to save me. You need to protect me from all these interrupters. Hey, no. Don't call my son, man. My son's busy right now. And that's how you handle family.
Good deal. Man, we could talk for hours, man, but I want to be respectful of your time too. And I think we
Yeah.
dropped a lot. So, man, I'm just processing. No, that was great. Very
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. So, man, we've said enough now,
Uh,
you know.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to say save your energies, but I also think too a lot of people will just say that. They don't really give you the play-by-play. So I think we got a little bit more granular. So I hope that the younger generation, including me, can actually apply that. And let's run it up.
I love you guys, man. You guys, I still think your generation, that younger, your generation right there, that 30, that at 24, 23, 30. I think that's a great generation. I love that generation because you guys are crazy, but you know, I think you guys are going to make it. I think you guys are going to make it, man. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot.
Trust me, I'm learning. But no, we're gonna run it back very soon. A lot more real content coming out. Just be ready.
We'll
Just be
do.
ready.
All right, man. I'll check with you in a bit. All right.
What'd you think?